I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, today we're reading from the book of Acts, chapter 22, and let's focus on verses 17 through 21. After I had returned to Jerusalem, it happened that as I was praying in the temple, I went into a trance, and I saw Jesus. "Hurry," he said to me, "get out of Jerusalem immediately, because they will not accept what you have to say about me." I said, "Lord, they know themselves that in every synagogue I used to imprison and flog those who trusted in you. Also, that when the blood of your witness Stephen was being shed, I was standing there too, in full agreement. I was even looking after the clothes of the ones who were killing him." But he said, "Get going, for I am sending you far away to the Gentiles." Now, I was in college when I began following Jesus, and I was also a member of a Greek fraternity on campus. And shortly after my salvation, I began sharing the gospel with members of my fraternity. And I was zealous, and I was not afraid to be confrontational, which really kind of made me completely obnoxious to everyone. And I really believed that my friends would consider my new life compared to my former life. And they would be like, "Wow, you really have changed," and just convert right there based on my transformation. And as it turned out at that time, my friends weren't really interested in my gospel presentation. And then word of my conversion spread, and I slowly found myself on the outside of our fraternal social circle. I used to love being in that scene, and now I was more and more an outsider. I couldn't understand why people rejected my testimony about Jesus. He'd done so much for me, and it was evident just by looking at me. And I began thinking about what was happening, where things went wrong with my evangelism techniques. And in the words of songwriter John Mayer, maybe it's got nothing to do with me. Perhaps my friends simply didn't want to be confronted with the truth about Jesus, no matter who delivered it. And after that experience, I couldn't imagine leading anyone to Jesus, but God had a different plan. As with the Apostle Paul, the Lord had me leave my Jerusalem, as it were. That is, I left college behind, along with my initial evangelistic failures. But those early seeds of the gospel, well, they didn't all go to waste. Over the years, several of my old fraternity brothers have shared how my testimony back then played a distinct, albeit eventual, role in their salvation. It's good to be zealous, but zealousness without submission to God's authority and the Spirit's direction, well, sometimes that zealousness just leads to trouble. It's not trouble the Lord led you into. Sometimes it's just trouble you got yourself into. So when we place zeal under submission, well, the Bible calls that meekness. For instance, a horse becomes useful to the rider whenever it is made meek to the bridle in the saddle. Likewise, we become useful to God when we submit to His plan for us. And Paul submitted to God's plan, and just look at how the Lord used him. God wants to do mighty things through you. Are you willing to surrender to His will and to His leading? Really, are you willing to be made meek? I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Now, Groundworks Ministries operates entirely through financial donations from faithful people just like you. And yes, we do need your monthly support. Donating is secure and it's easy at our website, groundworksministries.com. Another way to help is just tell people about Groundworks Ministries. Help us out. Share these podcasts with friends and family and on your social media. And of course, you can always direct folks to our website, groundworksministries.com.